You guys remember this beat? When this song came out at work, I was like, sweet, Mace. I haven't heard Mace in so long. And then they start singing, and I realized this isn't Mace. This beat was from 1974. This is Hollywood Swingin' by Kool and the Gang. And the whole time I thought Mace came up with this amazing beat, had that song, Feel So Good, Bad, 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 Bad Boy, Make Me Feel So Good. That was such a hit back in the day, and I had no idea it was a remake from the 70s. So we have this discussion post about music remaking it, or about movies remaking itself, but we see that in music a lot, especially now. You have all these old classic songs being brought back to life with these new artists and putting their own spin on it. So one thing I'm curious about is when you have a Hollywood movie and you want to pitch it, how hard is it to get that heard? Because we do not see a lot of new Hollywood movies out there. Even when something is new and has its own plot, it usually comes from a book or a comic. So look at the DC Marvel series. A lot of these movies that are coming out aren't written by Hollywood. They're actual old comic books, and they're taking the same plot with the same characters, and they're just turning it into a blockbuster film. Look at books like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. You have books like this that are great books, and then they get turned into TV series or movies. So it seems like Hollywood is almost turning to books and comic books for their movie plots. So that makes me curious how many stories out there are being pitched to Hollywood that they don't even listen to. Because Hollywood can take a safe bet by having the book, seeing how many people enjoy the book, and then they'll know that the film will be successful because so many people are into the book. You take the old Rocky story where Sylvester Stallone was trying to sell his movie and people would take the movie plot, but they wouldn't take him as the main character. But his vision had him as the main character. And he was trying to sell it to so many different companies. And then finally one picked it up and it was a huge success. So how many Sylvester Stallones are out there with a movie script trying to sell it with or without the person as the main character? And then it keeps getting turned down. It seems like the safest way to have a blockbuster hit is to go from something that's already been remade, an old film, something from the comic books, or something from a popular book series. Another thing, too, that you think of is Harry Potter came out, and Harry Potter blew up. And Harry Potter was new. It came from the book series, and then it went to the movies. And so it was new. It wasn't remade from the 80s or 70s. So Harry Potter came over and had pop culture, and Harry Potter somewhat ran its course, but it was still popular. There was still a demand for it. So what we're seeing now is when there's still a demand for something, they're going to go back and recreate more content, but they're going to take the backstory. So now they're coming out with Harry Potter movies from when these characters from the books were kids or before Harry Potter was even born. So we're seeing that too with Star Wars, where Star Wars is going to go way back in time and almost tell a backstory of a character just because the content has such a high demand. So I think we're always going to see this cycle of something comes out new, runs its course, but if there's still a high demand, they'll tell a backstory or a future story from that movie franchise or book franchise just to keep the content coming. So there will always have to be new things, and they will keep remaking old things, and I think that's just going to be the cycle, but I'm curious what it would take to have movies produced from people pitching movie scripts and not coming from books or comics? Or are people that are pitching movie scripts just turning their movie scripts into books? That way they can make revenue off the books and then eventually get their movie script turned into what they want it to be in the first place, which is a movie. So I'll have to do some more research on that because I'm pretty curious how hard is it now to pitch a movie and actually get it into production. Thanks, everyone.